Gold. What does that colour make you guys think of? For me, it's just that. Gold. Gold bars. Gold jewellery. Money. Hello and welcome back to Bug Realms. On this channel we like to discuss all things creepy crawly. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. So this is the fourth instalment, what am I doing with my hands? Fourth instalment to the series. If this is the first video that you've seen of this series, please head on back a few videos and check it out from the very beginning for a full description of what's going on. Now without further ado, we're going to jump straight in and you guys can see which two species of animal I picked up that I considered to be gold. Now on this one I forgot to actually show you the enclosure first, so I have to jump straight in with the animal here. So under gold, our first animal is the P. ornatus Malaga monster. Now you might be sitting there and thinking, these are grey isopods with slightly white skirts. Are you mental, Sam? But there, you see those little freckles, those little specks? To me, they look pretty gold. You may say yellow, but I say gold. And I just think they are so absolutely awesome. Now, I have been eyeing up the Malaga monsters for a while. They do sell them on a few websites. I know that Dubia Pool has them. But I actually purchased my Malaga monsters from Isopods online, as I've done quite a few of my animals in these videos. So yes, they have the grey, yes they have the whiter legs, yes they even have a whiter skirt and antenna there, but they have those gold specks, so I think that counts. Now these animals are fascinating. They are of a pretty decent size. They are much bigger isopods than I thought they were gonna be. Now that probably sounds strange considering they are called Malaga monster. You'd think, well, hang on Sam, they're obviously going to be big. I knew they wouldn't be tiny. I knew they were kind of mid to large size, but I just didn't expect them to be quite this large. So here is the actual enclosure. It is way too small for them, so I have actually rehoused these about a week after I filmed this, so these guys are in a bigger home, but I hadn't had a bigger home set up in advance for them when I did this order because I expected them to be slightly smaller. Now the only good thing about having a smaller home is they are more likely to interact with each other and get breeding started. But isopods in some ways are kind of like fish, so your fish may grow to the size of the pond or tank that they've got, so the smaller the tank the less likely they will grow. What I've noticed with isopods is that works with breeding as well, at least in certain species that I've encountered, that they will slow down their breeding rates when there are too many in an enclosed area. So I do definitely want to get these guys in a bigger setup. Now you can see there in comparison to my finger, the size of them. And there's some better looks at the gold specks there. So ornatus are often referred to as having yellow markings, and as I said earlier, maybe I'm cheating saying gold, but honestly, you guys comment me below and you tell me if that looks gold or yellow. Now we do have some with very little in the way of markings and others with a bit more striking markings, like this one. Now these guys also have massive uropods, the little bits at the end of their bums there. Really impressive, really impressive size. You get massive uropods in things like Hoffman's Sagoi too. And I love the way that the light is shining off of these guys. Now you can keep these slightly drier than other isopods, but this one's dampened down because it's the initial setup of the enclosure. I tend to keep them with maybe 2/3 dry, 1/3 damp is how I'm keeping them now, and they seem pretty happy. They regulate their own temperature by jumping between. So let me know as well, guys, if you own the Malaga monster and how are yours getting on. Whoa, did you spot that? actually looked like it was pinning it down. Look at that. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I remember this in filming and I was like, hang on a minute. Is this isopod just trying to climb over? Or has it actually pinned it down? But it kept it. Look at it in the bottom right. Anyway, as I was saying, breeding, I don't know how fast they reproduce, but I'm going to guess medium to slow with these. Look how that isopod is gripping the other. If anyone knows about this particular behaviour, please let me know in the comments below, because that's the first time I have seen that. Perhaps it's a territorial thing, perhaps it's even a mating thing, I'm not quite sure. But we're going to be moving on now, folks, to the next animal. So I did this one correctly this time in filming. Enclosure first. Now you can see this is a typical isopod setup like they have pretty much all been on this channel, with rotten wood, leaf litter, bit of lichen, some moss in the substrate. It's just a perfect environment. Now luckily these isopods are not as big as a Malaga monster, so they could be in this one. And it's the A. vulgare, but it's the Slano version from Croatia, and there's 10 plus in here. Also a buy from Isopods Online. Check out these wonders. Now vulgare come in so many colour morphs, it's absolutely amazing. And normally if you hear someone say, oh, this is Armadillo vulgare, if you're not into isopods, you might just be like, oh, you're just picking up grey isopods. Now these ones are not just grey isopods, and so many vulgare are not. So if you are hearing things about vulgare, please look into them, because you may see something amazing like this. Now just look at the variation of colour of these guys. You have the darker ones, the slightly lighter ones, some are even slightly more orange, but all of these isopods have a golden pattern on them. Look at that dark one, golden pattern on it. Slightly more brown one, golden pattern on it. And these lighter ones, even more of a golden pattern on them. Again, you could argue that this could be yellow, but in my eyes, gold. I hope that you guys can agree with me. If you don't, please let me know. If you do, still please let me know in the comment below. I loved the pattern on this one. I loved how there was so much of the gold, a little bit of brown, but the little head bit, as it were, is still grey. Look at it, look. Absolutely amazing. They're white skirted, slightly grey antenna, grey legs. Just a stunning animal. So this is going to be like my golden nuggets of my isopod collection. That's what I started calling them. So this was recorded in advance, and when I go to feeding times or maintenance times, I'm like, let's go see the golden nuggets. Now have you guys named any of your isopods anything funny? Let me know in the comments below. As you know, I often refer to them as my gemstones, but these ones, my golden nuggets. I absolutely love them, and they've become probably within my top 5 favourite of the isopods I currently own, just based on coloration alone. There is a good diversity of their coloration, which just, as a keeper for me, keeps me happy. And we are going to have offspring of this different variables. It's just going to be a beautiful mixture of how gold and how less gold these nuggets are going to be in the future. And when they do have their offspring, and their offspring have taken on more of their adult coloration, we will have a closer look at these guys and see if we get more of the lighter ones like this, or more of some of the darker ones. You can see they're very white on their underneath as well, and this one is holding onto a strand of wood. Now you've got to remember, guys, that when keeping isopods, keep an eye on the wood, the moss, the leaves, and make sure it does not hang to any larger ventilation points, or even smaller ventilation points, because when you have baby isopods, baby mankai, oops, another clumsy scene, they will get through the ventilation holes. Here's one of the darker specimens. Stunning, absolutely stunning. Looks a little bit more typical, but it's still beautiful. There's a more browny one there. And this one is hiding in the crevice between the two twigs, and I just thought it was a really stunning shot. I'm watching it kind of emerge from the darkness, as if it was coming out of a cave, and then you see that other one underneath. Almost mirrored the movement there. Really, really cool. And this one's actually got a bit of the gold go down onto his face part. I say that like that because it's not called that. I actually forgotten the term, but it's just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So there isn't anything else to show you in the way of gold. It is just 2 isopod species. I know they're not for everybody, but they are a major thing for me right now, and I am so happy to show these off. I just think they are one of the best Armadillium vulgare that you can get your hands on. So if you want any, contact isopods online, send those guys an email or a Facebook message and get yourself some. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed that video. I really did. As I said, our Malaga monsters needed an upgrade. It's been a few weeks now and I have actually given them a larger enclosure. I actually did film a little bit of that rehouse, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother putting it into a video or not. It depends if things work that way. But the Slanos, there's a vulgare from Slano. I'm still absolutely loving them. Now you shouldn't check on your isopods too often, guys. You don't want to keep disturbing them, but I just can't help it with those guys. They are so cool. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of them, and don't forget to check out our previous videos based on the colours of this unboxing, and check out the future videos that come out every Sunday until we have finished all the different colours of animal that I picked up. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye bye.